Hi everyone, thank you for joining the Fight with Teddy Atlas. I'm Teddy Atlas III, and joined as always by International Boxing Hall of Famer, my main man, my father, Teddy Atlas. How you doing, bud?
Yes, sir. NFL season, sir. Reporting for duty, sir. Uh, NFL season starts today. You spent 15 years as a scout and director of scouting in the NFL, and you're responsible. You would never toot your own horn, but you're responsible in a lot of those long, lonely trips that you drove and flew all over the country to scour the countryside to find talent. And a lot of it, like you used to tell me, is found like diamonds in the rough, found in the small schools. The big schools, everybody knows, Alabama, Georgia, everybody's after those guys. But to find the real value guys, you go to those offshoot colleges that has talent, but you have to find it. You have to know what you're looking at and what you're looking for. And I remember you finding some of that talent. And I know there's a lot of guys in the NFL now that you found that were drafted low and they're starting in the NFL now, that you found in all different places, walk-ons, free agents. I mean, I was always proud of you, the way that you were able to just to scout and to recognize talent. And not only that, but your work ethic to go and to the places where, quite frankly, a lot of scouts didn't even want to bother going because they were literally off off the grid, and but you went there because I talked to you on a lot of those trips. I remember talking to you on the phone, talking you through 8-hour, 9-hour, 10-hour drives, and I talk you through maybe 4 hours. You say, I'm good now, but I only got another 4 to go or another 3 to go. And then I would hear in the background your favorite song, Johnny Cash. I've been everywhere, man. And that fit perfect. So just reminiscing for a split second there. Last year, if my memory serves me correct, last year when the season started, I asked you for a couple picks. And remember, you gave me Kansas City, which, of course, to return to the Super Bowl. And they did. Of course, they lost to the Eagles. And you also gave me, again, if my memory is right, you gave us, the audience, because I had asked you to give us a couple picks, you said the Rams. And again, if my memory serves me right, they were one bad play or bad call away from going to the Super Bowl. I think I remember that correctly. So I would say, before we get started here, why don't you give us a couple picks, just for fun, being that today is the first Sunday of the season.
Yeah, as we're recording, the games have kicked off already, the early games. So we'll find out later how some of these teams are doing. Great time of the year. You're right, last year I did give the Rams as a sleeper team. They were one game away from the Super Bowl. They fell short in the NFC Championship. And that snow didn't help in Philadelphia, being a warm weather team, going to play in that blizzard there. And the Chiefs made it to the Super Bowl, but they fell short and they didn't three-peat it. This year, but I haven't put as much time or thought into following it like I've done in the past. But knowing the game and still loving the game, obviously, I'll give you a couple teams that stand out to me. In the AFC, this isn't a sleeper. I think the Baltimore Ravens might finally get it done. I know every year they're picked to be up there. They got a former NFL MVP in Lamar Jackson. I'm a big fan of their coach, Harbaugh. They got the ability to run the game, to run the ball, and to play defense. Getting in the playoffs, that quarterback, he's a tough out. He's tough for any defensive coordinator to game plan for. I like the Ravens. I think that the Chiefs are still the Chiefs, but I think things have changed a little bit in the AFC, and they're not as dominant as they once been. So I'm going to go with the Ravens there. And in the NFC, it's tough to go against the Eagles, and then they won again. Looked pretty good against the Cowboys opening night, but I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. I'm a fan of the quarterback, Jordan Love. He's only going to continue to get better as he matures and grows. I think he's going into about his 5th season now in the NFL. Josh Jacobs, my former guy from the Raiders. Got to have a running back, be able to run the ball, especially when you get into the postseason. Got a solid defense, a good young head coach. I think they're a team that could give people a lot of trouble. That's a tough division. A lot of people are going to say they might not even win the division. The Detroit Lions are probably the favorite. But those are 2 teams I think might make it to the Super Bowl.
All right, good. And you're going to find out some answers quick, because if I'm correct, I took a quick look at the schedule, not deep, but real quick. You're going to get some answers about the team you just said today. The Lions are playing the Packers, I believe, in this season opener.
That's right, they are. It's a lot of hype. Micah Parsons leaving the Cowboys, traded over to the Packers, making his debut. And the Lions, always fun to watch. Coach Campbell always has those guys ready to play.
He's a maniac. You got to love him. He's a maniac.
Yeah,
you know?
He'll roll the dice. He's not afraid.
No, he'd throw the dice right off the table. I mean, he goes for it all the time. All right, that was great. I appreciate it, and you're helping me out, bud. Because when I don't give a winner in boxing, I can come back and say, "Hey, my son gave you a win in football, so shut up." All right, I gave it back to you in a different sport. Hopefully, I give the winners for the most part. In the boxing, we can't win them all, obviously, but I'll be in Vegas this week, Thursday. I'll be going out to Vegas to cover the big fight out there, obviously, Crawford and Canelo for SportsCenter for ESPN. So I'll be doing those SportsCenter hits out there, and obviously we'll be covering that today.
Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait to have you out here. Can't wait for that big card, the big fight. And we'll get into it. But before we get into those previews and that big card we just touched on for Crawford and Canelo, we're going to recap the live action from this past weekend. We're going to start off in the UFC. We first had Fight Night in Paris, France. That was Nassourdine Imavov versus Caio Borralho. Now, this is a very interesting fight. More technical fight, not a ton of action. Borralho hadn't lost since 2015, 16-fight win streak, undefeated in the UFC, and Imavov was on a 5-fight unbeaten streak. So both of the guys were climbing up the middleweight ranks. Imavov was number 2 ranked, Caio was ranked number 7, and it was, like I said, a very interesting competitive match. I thought Nassourdine was completely in control. If you like boxing, this was your UFC fight to tune in and watch. There was no ground game. There was no takedowns. It was all the stand-up. And I thought Imavov was just more in control from the get-go and throughout. Just very patient, very calm, very calculated, very technical fight. He used feints. He worked his way in with jabs, through nice short combinations. And he got the best of him. In the end, went the decision, won a unanimous decision. What'd you make of these 2 middleweight contenders?
No, I agree with you. Imavov, I thought that he was smart because he knew he couldn't be reckless. He used very cautious aggression, very buttoned up aggression. You know, he was being a boss in a very deliberate, calculating way, not to walk into a quick count. I thought Borralho was a little quicker. He was using his legs. He was moving a little bit. Again, Imavov was looking to be the boss, dictate, and he was selective with his strikes. They were both, like you said, Bud, I was impressed. Both of them were solid guys, solid technically, and solid with their technical approach. Imavov, I noticed that he zeroed in with right hands when he noticed that Borralho was in the southpaw positions. Borralho switches. He's southpaw, that he goes all the time, mostly southpaw. But when he was southpaw, he went to the southpaw killer, Imavov did, with the straight right hand, and it was effective for him. I thought a lot of the rounds were close. I thought that it was 1-1 after 2. I gave the first round to Borralho and then the second round to Imavov. And then I wound up having him winning 4-1. But it wasn't that kind of freight train runaway because the rounds were close. And the last round, was a good round. It was they finished up strong. Again, it was a striking contest for the most part. Borralho tried to find spots to counter, move a little bit, look for spots to counter. Imavov, he was the guy that was dictating. He was pushing the envelope, but again, in a very controlled, deliberate, patient way, so he wouldn't walk into anything. At the end of the day, these are solid guys. You know who? Imavov, the way he approached it, reminded me of the approach, because it's not just about your talent, it's how you use your talent. It's about game planning. We're talking about the NFL starts today. A lot of the teams with the best game plan are going to win. And I thought that, yeah, you got to have the talent, don't get me wrong, but yeah, you have to have the right approach. You have to have the right, in this case, we're talking about NFL game plan. This would be fight plan. I thought his fight plan was right, and it reminded me of the approach. You'll tell me the name, but of the fighter, and they're doing a rematch soon. Richie, you know the name right away. They're doing a rematch soon. He beat Pereira, and to beat
Akhmadaliev.
And to beat when Akhmadaliev, I happened to pick Akhmadaliev in that fight. And Pereira's a monster. He's a boogeyman. I mean, he's so dangerous. He throws a left hook like Joe Louis. I mean, it's unbelievable. So short. Pop! And he throws it off the counter, and you don't see it coming. Incredible. And his kicking, incredible. And his stare, just, it melts ice sculptures. I've seen it, bud. I've seen it. It melted an ice sculpture. It was in Las Vegas. It was 110, so maybe that might have had a little to do with it too. But when he fought Pereira, Akhmadaliev had to be, he couldn't make mistakes. He wanted to be the boss. He wanted to back him up, but he had to do it in a cautious, smart, deliberate way. Slow, cautious, gradual aggression. And I saw a similarity in the way that Imavov went about his business. Anyway, I think that covers it pretty good.
Yeah, you covered it very good. And I was just impressed how solid and consistent he was with the basics, right? It was a lot of just 1-2s. He wasn't reinventing the wheel there. And I was just really impressed by Nassourdine's performance. But with that being said, bud, I didn't leave that fight and feel like, oh yeah, this guy could beat the middleweight champion, Khamzat, next. We didn't get to see it go to the ground, but to be the number 2 contender in the middleweight division, I didn't leave that performance. Take nothing away from Nassourdine, but it didn't make me feel like this is the next middleweight champion.
Yeah, well, with that guy, I think one of the keys is kind of one of the keys that Adesanya, when he was the king, that you defend the takedown, that you don't go to the ground, with that ground monster. But I hear what you're saying, bud. I hear what you're saying. But you know what? And I'll leave it with this. Sometimes guys are just quietly good. That's all. Shh.
That's a perfect way to end it. He was quietly good. That was not a quiet crowd. That was a fun event to watch there in France. It was a homecoming fight for Nassourdine. And with that being said, we're going to switch gears talking about homecoming fights in the boxing world. We had a fight in Mexico in the hometown of Eduardo Núñez. He fought Christopher Diaz. This was for the IBF Junior Lightweight Championship. And wow, what a fight this was. This could be Fight of the Year for sure, nominee. A couple rounds, the 11th and 12th for sure stand out. Maybe rounds of the year nominees. Incredible fight, bud. Toe-to-toe, nonstop action. Diaz has fell short at that higher level before. He challenged for the title against Navarrete. He also fell short against Shakur Stevenson. He falls short again to the champion Nunez. But what a performance. Made me a huge fan. Just want to hear your take. What'd you make of this one?
I just feel bad. I want to give him a world title. He deserves one. You know what I mean? When a guy is that good, but obviously he's losing to top guys. You know, I don't. What's he got? 5 losses, 3 of them are for the world title, or what? 6 now. Half of them are for the
6 now.
Yeah, and half of them for the world title. I mean, you know, 3 times. You know, you would hope for a guy like that. The third would be the charm, but it wasn't because Nunez was that good. He was that solid. Look, it was a great fight. It was a great fight. One heart and chins by both guys. Just really, it's extraordinary. You're not going to see that every day. And Diaz had the edge. You know, he looked bigger, but, you know, he was longer and a little taller. So he had the edge on the outside. Nunez had the edge on the inside, although Diaz answered him. I mean, God, he answered him when he had to. The thing about Diaz, for his defense, most of it is with his cover, his blocking. There's three lines of defense. You move your head, you know, you elude punches, you use your legs, or you block. Diaz, he blocks, and he covers up. He puts those, you know, earmuffs on. He gets into that peekaboo. He covers up. When you cover up like that, there's 2 areas that is susceptible if you attack. And Nunez, give the guy credit. You know, give him a credit. He's a champion for a reason. He's 28-1 for a reason. And, well, 29-1 now. And going in, he was 28-1 with 27 knockouts. He can punch. They both can punch. That even speaks louder to the kind of chin that Diaz has. And he showed. But when you cover up, you're susceptible to body work because you're right in front of the guy giving him the body. You know, you're covered up, your arms in, everything, but you're stationary. You're giving him a platform to hit, to strike. And Nunez knew that. And the other thing is the uppercut. The uppercut can be available because when you're covered up like this, bud, you can split the guard with the uppercut. And Nunez was able to do that. They both were able to land uppercuts in spots. But Nunez won the fight. I might have had it a little closer than the judges had it. Give him a little credit, a little bit more. But because some of the rounds were close, very close, Nunez won the fight. I mean, you had the one round with the 2 knockdowns. One wasn't really clean. The other one was clean. But here's another thing I want to give Nunez. He's got 27 knockouts in 29 fights. It ain't just because of his power. Listen to me, people. Yeah, he can punch. But it's what I've always preached to you. It's the delivery system. It's about being smart, not just tough, not just, you know, powerful, not just fast, but smart. You got to be smart. And they're both smart, but he was smart. That's how he landed those knockdowns. That's how he was able, because he timed Diaz as he was punching. As he was punching, bang! He punched with him. That takes good eyes. That takes a calm demeanor. That takes smarts. And he did. He just timed them beautifully. He waited for him to open up, boom! And he timed it right in the middle. It takes nerve. It takes a good fighter to do that. It takes a world champion. And that's why Nunez is a world champion. Not just because of his power, because of the way that he delivers it. So, tremendous fight. Again, I thought Diaz had the edge on the outside when he used his jab, when he got a little bit of space, when he took advantage of his length advantage. Nunez had to get close to do most of his work, and he did. And the difference was also Diaz was, of course, the knockouts came into play. Knockdowns, I'm sorry. But Diaz was placing spots, a little more conservative with his offense, where Nunez was putting combinations together. He was putting combinations together. I'm not saying Diaz didn't, but that gave him an edge. That gave him an edge. Just I guess I could just say busier, but putting combinations together when he got inside, body and head. And he did really nice body work. They both did, but Nunez, you can see that's part of his, that's part of his approach, part of his style. What makes him so dangerous is he'll go to the body. He'll get in close, he'll put them together. When it's all said and done, tremendous, like you said, bud. Just a great fight. Some great rounds. What a 12th round. I mean, I think Diaz won the 12th, if my memory serves me correctly. I give him the 12th round. And it was a lot of tight rounds. But I know that probably not going to be a rematch. I know that they brought, who'd they bring in? Espinoza?
No, Emmanuel Navarrete.
Yeah, Navarrete. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Espinoza, our guy, the other champion. But
yeah,
they brought
Espinoza's at 126. This is 130-pound champion Navarrete came in.
Yeah, they brought him in. First thing that struck me was the size difference. You see that? I know that he's not in fighting shape. I get it. I get that he's not in fighting shape. But his size, his height, he just looks so much bigger than Nunez. But what a fight that would be. What a fight that would be. But before either one of these guys fight again, especially Diaz, they should take a little rest because they did take a lot of punishment, and it shouldn't be ignored. Just because nobody got knocked out, it shouldn't be ignored. They took a lot of punishment in that fight. Anyway, great fight. I can't say enough about either one of them, and I can't say enough for my heart goes out to Diaz. Diaz, I wish I could give you a world title. I really do. I wish I could just give you a world title because you earned the right to have one. You've put it all on a line, and maybe you get another one. Maybe you get another shot.
Yeah, they did proud the Puerto Rico-Mexico rivalry there for sure. And I'm with you, bud. Nunez was credited with the 2 knockdowns in the 7th round. They weren't the cleanest, but he does get credit for those. And that was probably the difference in the end for me on the scorecards, seeing Nunez as the victor. But I'm with you. 117, 109. Come on. That's disrespectful. That's not the case. And 116, 110 twice. I'm with you, bud. That's going to be a fun one. 2 fan-friendly guys that are going to come forward, Navarrete and Nunez. And then the winner, Ray Ford, will be waiting for them. So 130-pound division, it's heating up with a lot of talent.
Yeah, it's hot. It's hot. And I'm glad you brought up the rivalry, Puerto Rico and Mexico. They just both of them have such great history with fighters. Just great history. And you saw that at play, too. The pride. I think that comes into play in situations like that when we got one country against another, where you got a Mexico against Puerto Rico, where, again, they're steep in their history of boxing. And there's so much, legacy there and so much pride involved. You could see they fought beyond anything they were getting paid. Way beyond that. It was about pride.
Yeah. Hats off to both of those guys. Unbelievable fight. For the viewers out there, if you didn't watch it, it was on DAZN, still up on the app. Go take a peek. I mean, just those last 2 rounds alone, it's worth your time. Tremendous fight. We're going to keep it moving, bud. That is all of the recaps for this week's or past week's fight action. But we're going to preview, like we said, the big card coming up. So talk about pride. You got the pride of Mexico, Canelo Álvarez, versus the pride of Nebraska, Omaha, Terence Crawford. We've talked about this one for quite some time now, for months now. It's the week of. You're going to be out here for it. We can't wait. There's been a couple little updates. There's a new photo of Terence Crawford floating around. He's looking
scary,
pretty big at that new weight.
That's scary.
He's looking scary. It makes you think, right? With this added weight, is he going to be slower? Is it going to take away from his quicks, his reflexes? But I want to just get right into it. Just want to get your thoughts, your take. Crawford and Canelo.
Yeah, listen, before this fight was made and when it was only vaguely proposed, where a lot of people poo-pooed it. No, Crawford's too small. Forget about it. It doesn't make sense. When it was going through those times, I didn't hesitate. I said Crawford. I'm not changing now. I see, listen, both guys have gotten older. I don't know. I hope it's not. And I'll put the disclaimer out there first. I'm not poo-poo. I'm not raining on anyone's parade. I think it's a very interesting fight, and I hope it's a great fight. And they're making it so big. They're really bringing everything out for this fight. You know, Dana White, his first involvement in boxing, in a promotion of a fight like this. I know he's involved with Walsh, the Irish kid, but I mean, his first really foray with boxing in this kind of way and level with Turki Al-Sheikh, and they're not holding anything back. I mean, they're putting everything into this. I remember how excited everyone was for the Mayweather fight with Pacquiao. As it turned out, it was 5 years too late. It didn't happen when probably it should have, to really give us a chance to really have a great fight. And people were very disappointed. And I'm hoping that don't happen, and I don't think it will. But there's a chance that people might say at the end of the day, if they're not as satisfied, whether it's the Canelo side or the Crawford side, that, hey, this should have maybe happened a little earlier. Put that aside for now. That's me, because I always going to tell you everything I feel, whether you like it or not. But I'm gonna allow my experience to scour the canvas and look at everything, all aspects, and put it out there. I don't care if I'm working a fight now. It's not going to stop me from saying what I believe. At the end of the day, I think it's going to be it is an interesting fight. I think it could be a hell of a fight, but we'll see. Canelo, when I handicap this fight, I look at it where has each guy changed? What's their strengths? What their weaknesses? Canelo is not as busy as he used to be. Now, in some ways, it served him like a fine wine getting better. You know, he picks his spots, he counterpunches, you know, he carries good power, he's accurate, you know, he doesn't waste anything. That's a nice thing. I don't know if that nice thing will serve him with Crawford, who's moving up in weight, who's faster, who can maneuver and use his legs. I know he's 37, but he's not used up. He doesn't have a lot of miles on the odometer, Crawford. So I'm looking for my synopsis of it. My overview would be I'm looking for Crawford to win the outside. Use his length. I know he's still got good length on him. Use his length, use his legs a little bit, grab the canvas. He's not going to run, but just control space, get angles, be ready to punch. Don't allow Canelo to freely walk in. And where I think he gets served is that, again, Canelo's feet aren't that fast. Why did he lose to Mayweather a long time ago? I know it was a million years ago. I know. But it wasn't because his hands were too slow. His feet were too slow. He couldn't close the gaps fast enough. And I think he's going to have a problem in that same area. If I'm right, if Crawford maximizes the things that favor him. Speed, legs, IQ, length, using the jab to control that length. I can see where Canelo could have trouble getting close enough. I also see that, again, he's not busy like he used to be. Yeah, he's accurate. Yeah, he'll go to the body. He'll look to throw that left hook to the liver. That's one of his famous punches. That's a punch that makes sense against a smaller man, that can take the legs away from a smaller man. But I don't know if he'll get in position to do it. Crawford's going to try not to let him get in position to do it and win the battle on the outside. And again, not have to deal with a lot of activity offensively from Canelo because he's not that active offensively like he was some years ago. So that's going to help Crawford. Yeah, everyone says, oh, he's the big, Canelo's the bigger guy. He's the more powerful guy. Okay, fine. But if he's not throwing the bigger, more powerful punches in large quantities, then he's not as dangerous as you think he is. Because he's got to throw them. He's got to land them. But he's got to throw them to have a chance to land them, to be dangerous, to be the bigger guy. And if he's thrown a lot less than he used to, he's not as dangerous as you make it in your head because he's the bigger guy. That's how I break it down. That's how I look at it. There will be moments that each guy is going to have to deal with at the end of the day. I like Crawford. I like him because not only the physical attributes I talked about, because of the intangibles, the mental traits, where he's got great timing. He's always he's ice water in there. He doesn't get affected emotionally. He's got great eyes. He's laser-like with his eyes and his timing. And mentally, he doesn't believe he could get beat. That's my breakdown for that one.
Great breakdown. Some great points there. When I listen to you speak, Bud, you talk about the speed, you talk about the length, the quicks of Terence Crawford. The last time Crawford fought was last August versus Madrimov, where the last time Canelo fought was in May versus Skull. So my concerns, if you're a Crawford backer, is with the added weight on top of the ring activity. Is that something that concerns you of the ring rust going into that with the added weight?
Yeah, it could. But I'm thinking he's got good people with him. Bo Mack and the other guys that train him, they do a good job. They really do. And they always have the right plan. I've never seen them not have a good plan in any of their fighters, preparation for fights. I would think that they gave him enough time to get comfortable with the weight. That's the question you're asking, Bud. That's really what you're asking. Not will it be too slow because he got bigger, but did he have enough time to acclimate, to adapt to that size where he's comfortable with it? That's the question. And that's a question that, I ask myself, yes, I do. But I'm going to give them, I'm betting and believing and showing confidence in their judgment that they didn't make a mistake, that they knew by doing this that they could become, they tested it out, that they had enough time to see that they were comfortable. They didn't lose flexibility. They didn't lose speed, fluidity. Those are all things I am concerned that you could lose. No doubt about it. I'd be nuts if I wasn't. But I'm putting my confidence in their judgment. That's what I'm doing. And that they made that decision to go that route because they thought maybe psychologically it was important. Physically, if some spots where they got to stand their ground a little bit, it was important. But at the end of the day, that it would not take away in areas that, were detrimental.
No, absolutely. Can't wait for this one. If you guys haven't already, there's a lot of stuff out there on this channel from Teddy talking about this fight for months now. Go back. There's different angles we covered. We talked about the judges in this fight. We talked about the weight. We talked about the resumes. And now we just got the breakdown for the X's and O's. So the only thing we need is Saturday night to come and get this one on. With that being said, Bud, we're going to stick with this card. And we're going to go preview the co-feature, the co-main event here. That's Callum Walsh versus Fernando Vargas Jr. Now, you just touched on Dana White promoting this fight, Canelo versus Crawford, this card. Well, he's been backing Callum Walsh for some time. A lot of fans might not be that familiar with Callum Walsh. A lot of the fights were on that UFC Fight Pass. But I want you to break down what he is, and also the same being said for Fernando Vargas Jr. We know that's the son of Fernando Vargas Sr. and also the older brother of Emiliano Vargas. Emiliano gets a lot more attention. I think people, at least myself, are more familiar with him and might not be as familiar with Fernando Vargas Jr. Just want to get your breakdown for this fight. What can we expect, Walsh versus Vargas Jr.?
Neither one of these guys have been in really deep waters. They're both undefeated. They're both being built up carefully. They haven't been, in any dangerous places really yet. I mean, and that's important. It's important when you finally do get to that place that you have the memory in your banks of knowing that you've been in this area before and you've handled it. They haven't had that experience to get the answers to those questions yet. Walsh's toughest fight was recently. He had, I don't know if it was his last fight or a couple fights ago, and that was the best opposition I've seen him with. I think they're both still incomplete. They're still works in progress. Vargas, because he didn't have a big amateur background like his father did. And he's dedicated himself to it, but he didn't have that big amateur background. Walsh has a better amateur background, and that's important. That's deeper. That pedigree, that experience is very important. So he's got a little edge there. Walsh is got good size, good length. He's got a good jab. He's got good hand speed. He's got better hand speed than Vargas. Neither one of them are the kind of punches, really pure punches that their records might suggest, because they've been put in there with carefully selected opponents. It's one thing knocking out guys that, are low level or lower level. It's another thing if can you do it with a higher level. It's a whole different thing. So just because you're doing it at that level and you're getting them on your record and they look good, doesn't mean that you truly are that puncher. And neither one of them are really that puncher. I mean, you don't want to close your eyes and let them hit you, but they're not that puncher. I think Walsh is a guy that, for the most part, he's got a little speed advantage. He'll look to box on the outside. He'll engage you too, but he'll look to box on the outside. Vargas, I think, will probably have the pressure of having to get close to do his work and to be effective for himself. I'd probably give a slight edge to Walsh. It's an interesting matchup at this point in their careers. Both undefeated. It's an interesting match at this point in their careers because of the amateur background, because of the ability of Walsh, I think, to be use his length on the outside, be a little bit quicker. I probably favor him a little bit. We'll find out, but Vargas will have opportunities. They both will have opportunities because there is still flaws in both their games because, as I said at the beginning, they're both still works in progress.
Yeah, great breakdown. I'm excited to see these guys, and what a spot for these two young prospects right before the Canelo Crawford main event. That should be a good one. Before we move on with this card and some more previews, I just want to give a quick thank you to today's sponsor, Athletic Greens. Athletic Greens introduces the new AG1 Next Gen. Now includes 5 clinically studied probiotic strains shown to support digestive and immune health with added vitamins and minerals. They've also now have new travel pack designs resulting in a much easier pour to improve the customer experience. So whether you guys are looking to boost your energy levels, support your immune system, or address gut health, Athletic Greens is the way to go. Simply visit athleticgreens.com/atlas to claim your special offer of 10 free travel packs with your first purchase. All right, bud. We're going to keep it moving. Also on that card, we got a big attraction, maybe to see who some of the future players are at 168 pounds. We got Christian Mbili fighting Lester Martinez. Mbili is the WBC interim champion at 168 pounds. And for me, bud, when I look at this card, this might steal the show. This could be the fight of the night on the undercard. I'm really excited for this. Mbili, pressure fighter, always comes forward. And from what I've seen out of Lester Martinez, another fan-friendly fighter. Just want to hear your take, your thoughts. What can we expect this middleweight matchup?
Maybe fireworks. Maybe a knockout. Or somebody being broken down. And Billy does it two ways. He can catch you, he's not a great puncher, but he's a solid puncher, and he throws a lot, and he brings the pressure, and he looks to break your will as much as breaking any body parts. That is his commitment to his game. He's going to break your will with relentless pressure. You said it. Relentless pressure and abundance of punches. Just keep coming at you. And body, head, not a huge hydro puncher, but obviously he can hurt you. And he can hurt you especially to the body, and his pressure can melt you. Martinez has some options where he can use his legs. He can box a little bit more on the outside. And Billy is one-dimensional, but it's a fun dimension, and it's worked for him. He's been hurt. He's been severely hurt, but he's survived it because he's got great heart. There's going to come a day that he ain't going to survive it, though, with that style. That day's going to come. Is it this day? I don't know. Is it this day? He does lean a little bit. He does get hit with uppercuts. Martinez throws a good uppercut. Martinez can punch a bit too. Martinez, again, will have the option of being able to catch him on the outside, move a little bit, pick his spots. Where he knows where Mbili's coming from. He's coming right down the highway. Right down I-95. There he is. He's right there. It should be a fun fight. All of these, but, I know we'll go more into it later, but you and our team has created a couple new platforms for us with new sites out there called The Ropes. And, it's a boxing community where you can get more personal things from me. And in those platforms, for people that really want to get the more definitive, every bit of it, and the picks, under, over, knockout, not knockout, decision. You want to get that. That's going to be available. And you're going to let the people know more about that. I just wanted to throw it out there and let people know. I'm going to give them the basic synopsis and overview of these guys' styles right now for this. For more specifics, you can go to those sites. But again, it should be a fun fight, and Billy doesn't know anything but fun fights. He's coming one way.
Yeah, I'm with you, bud. I'm really excited, like I said, for this fight in the lead up. We talked about, this platform. You're watching film on all of these guys, and you went back and you watched a common opponent in Carlos Gongora. And I went back and watched it as well, and that's what got me even more excited for this fight. With that being said, bud, with you grinding film and you just touched on the new platform, I want everybody to know Teddy's channel will be on the Circle platform. It's Inside the Ropes. Go to theropescircle.so. So that's theropes.circle.so. Theropes.circle.so. And there's more information that we just don't have the time on this platform to share. And we want to be able to go to another layer and another dimension with Teddy to be able to engage with the fans and provide some of the stuff that time doesn't allow here. For example, there's some more fights on this undercard that we're just not going to be able to get into. And one of those fights is a really good rematch. Sergey Bohachuk versus Brandon Adams. There's an interesting, intriguing heavyweight match. We have Ivan Daichko versus Jermaine Franklin. And there's other fights. And again, we don't have the time, but that's why this platform is there. Check it out, theropes.circle.so. You'll be able to get all of Teddy's picks for all of the fights, not just the big fights, but he's watching fights that, to be honest, he usually wouldn't watch. And for the purpose of you guys and the viewers, out there. So besides fight picks, fight breakdowns, you're going to have the opportunity to get more of Teddy's live streams, in-fight live betting, live Q&As, tutorial tips, training, you name it. There's a lot there. I'm excited about it. We're going to get it built up. It's going to launch and be active on Tuesday coming up this week. So when you guys get a chance, go ahead on Tuesday, take a look, and we'll be circling back and talking more about this platform and some of the new endeavors that Teddy's working on. With that being said, Bud, I want to finish up with the previews of some more fights that we're going to talk about that aren't in Las Vegas on that stacked Canelo Crawford September 13th card. And we're going to start off with another Irish prospect. Not the one we just talked about, Colin Walsh, but the one you've been talking about for quite some time. Paddy Donovan, rematch versus Lewis Crocker. This is going to be in Belfast, Northern Ireland. This is also on Saturday. This will be before the Canelo Crawford fight. And the first fight ended with a lot of controversy. Paddy Donovan, in my opinion, was cheated of a win. And the referee got involved. There was a punch after the bell. Crocker wasn't able to continue. Crocker won by disqualification. Now, fast forward, about 5 months later, we're getting the rematch. And this time, it's for the championship. It's for the welterweight IBF title. When they first faced off, Jaron Ennis was the champion. He has since vacated that belt and moved up to 154 pounds. So again, this one's for the title. What do you make of this rematch, Crocker versus Paddy Donovan?
Well, first of all, full disclosure, very dear friend of mine who's also one of the lawyers for my charity foundation that does everything pro bono to help us help people. Keith Sullivan is the manager, one of the manager. Him and Andy Lee, who's the trainer, tremendous trainer. He's been very successful as of late. His name has really been highlighted. Andy Lee is one of the top trainers with Robert Garcia and the rest of the top guys out there. Deservingly so. He's done an incredible job. Former fighter, Andy Lee, former world champion. And him and Keith co-managed Donovan. As I said, Andy is... he's the trainer. Keith is, like I said, a friend. So full disclosure of that, but it's got nothing to do with my pick. If I thought he comes up short in any areas, I'm going to tell you. Like I would for somebody I didn't know or know. It doesn't matter. What matters is that I say the truth, that I say what I believe, what my experience tells me, what my eyes tell me. I love Donovan in this rematch with Crocker. I think that he could do. I think he's a better overall fighter. I just think that Crocker's a tough guy, rugged guy. He can punch a bit. He's a guy that, again, kind of like I was talking about in Mbili, he looks to take your will away from you. He looks to weigh you down, go to the body, bring that pressure, and he can hurt you. But his punches are a little slower, just a little wider. That makes a difference, a big difference. Paddy Donovan's punches, he's faster. I think his technique is a little purer, a little more sophisticated. He's got more options. He can box. He can control the outside, Donovan can. He can also box with you or fight with you on the inside. And at the end of the day, Crocker's going to have to get it done on the inside. And a lot of people say, well, he's got the edge maybe on the inside because Paddy Donovan's forte is to use his length to box, to use his legs a little bit, and counterpunch on the outside. Control that area, that geography, as I like to say, of the ring. But here's the key for me: it will wind up going inside. Donovan will look to counter Crocker coming in, make him pay a price to get close, use his faster hands, show that he's more sophisticated in those areas. But when it does come inside, I think that Donovan gets the better there too, because his punches are shorter, like I talked about earlier. Even though that is the wheelhouse of Crocker where he wants to be, but his punches are a little fatter. And when you got a guy throwing them a little shorter, they're going to get there more impactful, quicker, faster, more, like I said, more damaging. So at the end of the day, inside or outside, I don't see anywhere where Crocker comes up better. And then coming off of the last fight, I think Donovan will be more determined than ever. He feels that fight was stolen from him. And I agree with him. I happen to agree. Nothing to do with my friend being his manager. I agree. When I saw the fight, I said it. I said I thought it was very shady the way that the referee behaved. I like Donovan, inside or outside. I think that his superior, not just his superior skills, but his superior technique and his just having more dimensions, just being more complete. I think that's going to be the difference. I think Donovan is going to wind up having his hand raised as a world champion.
Yeah, that was that was a completely thorough breakdown. Really good preview for that fight and pick. And I'm just going to touch on it again. If you guys want to go deeper, if you want to go to the next layer, check out theropes.circle.so, because even though Teddy just gave his preview and his prediction for that fight here, there's more and there's another layer, right? And that might be... I didn't tell you
what round, because I got a round in my mind, maybe a little bit, but I didn't tell you whether or not he's going to win by decision or knockout or whatever. But I definitely
one of those
feel
might
pretty
be bringing
strong.
back plus money. So be on the lookout for that. And I'll just finish up with saying, bud, a couple weeks ago, for those out there, the viewers, with this new stuff we're touching on with Teddy's picks in this platform, Teddy did hit a 25-1 4-fight parlay. And the following week, just missed a 111-1 parlay on the Rafferty by Caio over Chamberlain fight, where you had Baru, one of your favorite fighters in the world now, at 154 pounds, to win by decision at 12-1. So Teddy's putting in the work. We're just putting it out there for you guys. We're still going to have previews and picks here, but to get to that next layer, take a look, I should say, at the Circle platform. So with that being said, bud, the final fight we're going to talk about is going to be September 14th, the day after Crawford and Canelo, early morning from Japan. And we have the monster, Inoue. He's fighting MJ, putting all his titles on the line. Just want to get right into it. Your thoughts, preview, Inoue versus MJ.
Not what people might think. I love Inoue, the monster, obviously. Good puncher, solid fighter, just believes no one can beat him. Nobody has. And but he has been hurt. But that's another place he comes up high, marks. He behaves like a champion. He got hurt, he comes right back and he destroys the guy. Oh, you hurt me? Okay, I destroy you now. I destroy you for hurting me. So you gotta love him. Technique is solid, his talent is incredible. He's moved up and carried his power, moved up so many weight classes. You wonder when enough is enough, but so far, he's been able to do it. He's always the boss, goes to the body, does everything. MJ, I think that this could be interesting. Here's where MJ doesn't come up with the high enough marks to pull off a huge upset. He's not busy enough. But that's why I think that he's got a chance in this fight to go rounds with the monster and to be there. And to have a chance, as long as you're there and you're not getting the crap beat out of you, you got a chance. And one thing I'll tell you, there's a few things about MJ, but one of the things with MJ, he doesn't waste anything. He uses his legs to go in and out for defense really well, controls range really well. And he goes to the body. His favorite punch is his left uppercut to the body. And he is accurate with it. And he knows when to throw it. That's why he lands it. He throws it off a trap. He'll take a little step back, get you to come in, make you miss, and hit you with the uppercut to the body. And I could see him landing that punch with Inoue. Because Inoue sometimes, I'm not going to say gets reckless, but he can be so aggressive, so confident, that sometimes he'll just come right after you, and you could walk into something. It's happened to him in the past. In this case, he could walk into that uppercut to the body. MJ does have his shortcomings. When he's going in and out, I notice sometimes he'll go straight back a little bit too much, and Inoue is really good at making you pay a price for that. If he sees you go back too far on that line, he's going with you. And he's going to make you pay because you're still on that line. You're not off that line. You're still in his target, in his sights. MJ had a great, he's got all the experience, the amateur background, everything. He's solid mentally. He's solid technically. Like I said, the one thing that he doesn't come up with the high marks, he's not a busy guy where he's going to threaten to win a decision probably over Inoue. He'd have to hurt him. But he is a guy that because he's not busy, he doesn't get reckless. He's not going to leave himself open to some of those tremendous crippling punches of Inoue. He is a guy that, as I said, he doesn't waste anything. He only throws for a reason that he thinks makes sense. He's not going to beat himself. He's not going to get stupid and leave himself open to something. He's going to be in a fight. He's going to go rounds. And that might surprise some people with the monster. I like MJ. Again, I can't see, unless he hurts him, how he could be busy enough at the end of the day to accumulate enough rounds, enough points to beat Inoue, who will be busier. But I think he could be in a fight. Is that a fair breakdown, Bud? And I'll give you even more, like you said, with the sites, with the ropes, those platforms that we got, and then we're opening up. But I respect this guy, MJ. I see what I see.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you just said. I mean, we did see Inoue in his last fight versus Ramon Cardenas hurt in that fight and dropped in that fight. So there are some opportunities there. I know from watching MJ in the past, as you just touched on, really good counterpuncher, southpaw. So we'll see if he could give some problems to the monster Inoue. And some of you out there could read between the lines, but some of those that don't want to read in between the lines and just want it, again, go over, check out the platform, theropes.circle.so, and you'll see. I know Inoue is 30-0 with 27 knockouts. I think a lot of people expect another knockout. Tune in. Teddy will tell you, is it going to go to the decision, or does he think it will be a knockout? So take a look again. And as always, Bud, thank you. I think this was a fun show. Great previews, big card coming up. Before we wrap it up and allow you to go watch some football the rest of this Sunday, any final words? Close it out.
Yeah, my poor New York Giants and New York Jets. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be another... Is it going to... Yes or no, Bud? Because don't torture me. Is it going to be another... for you, look at you. You're in Vegas. You've walked away from that. Is it going to be another long season for us New York football fans?
Yes.
Okay. See you later. Thanks a lot.
Sorry to all my Jet fans out there, but I don't see the Jets making the playoffs this year. I don't see the Giants making the playoffs this year, but we'll be hoping I'm wrong and pulling for the New York teams as always.
Yeah. Okay. Next year. So next year.
Next year.
So I'll leave you with the famous words, the infamous words of Jet and Giant fans over the last too many years. Two things that they say. Next year and tailgate. That's it.
That's it. Well, that's it for us this week. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys again next week.